Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My sincere apologies for the delay. Again, I got to tell you, it's not that I was goofing around. I'm trying to add I have 3 webcams right now, but to get them to work right with StreamYard is like pulling your hair out. And I've spent the last hour and a half out of my day trying to get that to work. Why is it even up here like that? Nonetheless, it's been frustrating. I've been very frustrated, and I wish that I would have just taken this next week to get. I'm going to take the next week to get it right. So Friday we're going to have a better show as far as the production quality. So just one of those things where YouTube ain't easy, I guess, right? But anyway, so that is that. But I wanted to talk to you guys today about something that while I was working, before I started playing with the cameras, that I started to listen to on Primo's live this afternoon, depending on where you're at. And Primo Chemo was, I don't know who brought it up, but someone was talking about leaving automated feedback. You know, maybe there's a question, do you leave automated feedback for your buyers? And it got me to thinking, you know, why aren't all serious sellers automating their feedback for your buyers as soon as the purchase is made? Now, I'm even asking myself that question. You know, I have currently, before doing this live, had it set up to do automated feedback after they left me feedback, right? And I guess it was this old mentality in my mind that, you know what, the transaction's not over until they leave their positive feedback and they say they got it and everything's good. And I guess that's a mindset that you can go with. That's one that I've gone with. But why? The question that I have for myself is why? If you're a serious business, the buyer buys your item, right? You may not hear from 75% of your buyers after you ship that item out, plain and simple. So why do you need them to leave you a positive feedback? Why do you not have automated feedback right away? And there's a number of reasons why you would want to leave positive feedback right away. Number one, some buyers are trying to build up their feedback score, right? And it's the right thing to do. They buy something from you, they make the payment in a timely manner, or they provide you with a valid address, everything's good. You should have a system in place to do that, right? Now, my thought on this whole thing, and I was really kind of thinking about this, is there is no reason to withhold feedback from a buyer. None. There isn't. You've got 5%, I would say 5% of the population of eBay buyers, I think, are bad buyers. I think to say that it's any higher than that is really disregarding the good buyers out there. There's a lot more good buyers out there than there are bad ones. I'll just tell you that right off the bat. And so if our concern is the 5% that are bad buyers, well, then, okay, they leave us a negative feedback. They send us a brick back on a return. What are you going to do about it? What does feedback have anything to do with it? And if your answer is to leave a false positive, you are violating eBay's policies. You are not allowed to go in and leave a nasty gram under the guise of a positive feedback. And now I understand by doing that, right? You're like, I'll show them, they're going to leave me a negative, or I'll show them, they're going to send me back a brick, right? In both cases, we're disappointed, right? It's our feelings. Once again, feelings rearing its ugly head, feelings in the middle of our business decisions. And if you're utilizing your feelings to make a decision about your business, that's your first misstep. And that is not the right mindset to have as a reseller in this business. If you want to be the top. Now, if you're just a hobby seller, if you're just doing what you're doing and it's fun for you, and the interaction with these buyers, both good and bad, kind of does something for you, then maybe you'll not heed this advice. For me, I've got 3 negative feedbacks in the last week, and two of them, I would say two of them are not warranted. I think three, but I'll just say two of them because I don't really know what happened with that freight forwarder thing. I don't like it. Okay. And I really think the buyer, did me wrong. But am I going to go in and leave them a false positive? No. For one, people are looking at the feedback you've left for others. It's going to make you look really nasty as a nasty seller. And it's like, wow, look at all this false positive you're leaving for people. And it's just really one of those things where if you're really focused on your business the way you should be, you should focus it on the cost of doing business and move on to the next transaction and leave that in the rearview mirror. You want to block the person, block the person. You want to do business with them, don't do business with them. But I think a lot of times we want to leave a false positive. We'd rather leave a negative. That's why we're so up in arms. Why can't sellers leave negatives? Because we want to sting the buyer back. We want to get them back for what they did to us, the wrong they caused to us. But really, we are in this for making money, and it isn't about being right or wrong. And it isn't about proving, well, I was right, the buyer was wrong. You need to just move on and make the money. That's what it should be. But I want to know, what difference does it make if you get scammed or if you've left a positive without one, considering, that you cannot leave false positives? I want to know what you guys think on that. And there's a way to go into your business policies on eBay, and it's really easy to do. I had to reboot this computer, so nothing is actually signed in. But you go to your name on the upper left-hand side of the computer, and you simply click the drop down, and I believe it's under selling preferences, and you'll then be able to edit your automated feedback. Now, I would say,
is that on my account?
It is on your account. I would say that it is better to have something than nothing there. If you are the one that's doing all the feedback, it's taking time to type in all that feedback, or even going in and selecting pre-done feedback for people, right? So either automate it for after they leave you positive, or automate it after you get payment, but at least automate that much. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, if you just think I'm full of it, at least automate something so that that's one less thing that you have to deal with, because feedback is really basic. You can go in and program like 3 or 4 phrases, thank you for a smooth transaction, another great eBay buyer, blah, blah, blah. And then just have it pre-select one of those 3 or 4, and it's done for you. You don't have to think about it anymore. So that is that. I want to know what you guys think about that. But really, if we are, and I guess this goes to only those out there who have that or want to develop that business mindset. Do you think Walmart is going to send you a nasty gram in the mail if you didn't return a cord with your return? Maybe you didn't send back all the accessories or the original packaging, where they're not going to like it, but they're not going to do something nasty towards you. We got to get out of this mindset as sellers that we all know that eBay caters to the buyers. We know that, right? And I think there's an us versus them mentality, and we really got to get out of that mindset, because we rely on these buyers, right? So they're going to get a little bit more leeway than we get. That's just the name of the game. You got to accept it, and it's just the part of doing business. Really, let's cater to the 95% and not worry about the 5%. Beard says, if you ain't first, you're last. Thanks for being here. And we got Biff, who came in second, and you're last. That is the first loser. Texas Bandit says, sunshine, lollipops, candy canes, and everything. Yes. Thanks for being here. Gail Carlson says, hello to all the FAE family. Huh? Don't talk dirty to me on the live. That's not good. Texas Bandit says, I'm sourcing cake mixes while I listen to the FAE twins.
Sourcing cake mixes?
I guess.
Do those make money?
I guess.
I mean, they're nice in my pantry, but...
Callie Deb says, hello, John, Jenna, and chat. I hope you're all getting good sales. Sales are once again picking up after a dismal last week. Same items, but people want items this week and didn't last week.
Go figure.
It's hard to say. We had a good weekend, despite me not being here. What are you laughing about now? just trying to see how I'm doing here. I got to look past this microphone. I am all discombobulated right now, guys. I am jacked up. I mean, I'm throwing boxes around before the live. I'm like, this sucks. You know, looking at YouTube videos on how to do this and do that. And the guy's like, you need to do this and do somersaults and all this stuff, and then it'll work. And I'm like, okay, I've got 5 minutes before the show. And then the damn webcam stopped working, and it was like a super zoom on my face. I'm like, no one wants to see, like, find a zit on my face. I don't know. I was really freaking out there for a minute. Texas Bandit says strawberry is going to be the big thing on eBay this fall.
Strawberry cakes.
I guess. I don't know if I like that. Maybe strawberry with a little vanilla frosting, not chocolate.
What if you did both a strawberry and a vanilla swirl cake?
Well, why don't you
I'm
try
not a
that?
baker, so I don't.
Why don't you try
I
that and
can't
tell us
even
all
bake
about it?
cookies.
Amber Squaws says, howdy, John, Jenna, and chat. Happy for a new week.
Yes.
Yes. Chastity says, hello, all. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
No One Design says, John will be a bit late today. He's still doing his monologue from the last live. That ain't right.
I need a tissue. My eyes are like.
That ain't a tissue. I don't know what to tell you. We
I
don't
gotta
carry
go
tissues
get
here.
one.
Joe Samard says, hello. Thanks for being here, Joe. And then Samantha says, hello, John and Jenna. Good evening, FAA viewers. Thanks for being here. And Mike Seller says, hello, John, Jenna, and FAA family. Mike says hi, too. And I think you mean Ranger says hi, too. But thanks for being here.
Ranger's on. Ranger's
Ranger's
the
on.
main one.
Oh, Ranger's the main one. Okay.
Mike's just an assistant.
I guess. Texas Bandit says, I've heard he was late getting to the autograph 8x10s in the mall. Mail needs some pointers from Mr. Moist. Now, as you guys know, I went to California this weekend, and it was a my friend coined it as a celebrity poker tournament for the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood.
That had no celebrities.
And I'm not good with faces. I'm not good with movie stars. I wouldn't doubt if there was 3 or 4 or 5 of them that were walking by me or playing next to me, and they were, I just don't know, maybe B movies. I don't know. But I do know there were some poker players there that.
Well, maybe that's what they meant by.
Well, yeah,
celebrity poker players.
But there's also people who had no idea. They looks like the way they played, they didn't know that there's more than 2 cards in a deck. The way they were playing, I mean, they're just horrible. And of course, you have to adjust your strategy. And I think I finished out of 15 tables, 150 players, 40 something place. Not too great. My buddy Tim that I was there with finished a little bit further than me, in the 3rd table. But there's no money to win. It was prizes. So, go here, $2,000 gift card and some other things. It was just a fun time. And, we donated and some money to get extra chips. And it was just a fun time. Played a little golf. I also made a video. So I was able to monetize the trip, which is cool. So I'm going to be coming out with a video.
Monetize the trip?
Yeah, monetize the trip. Or expense the trip.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what I mean.
Monetize.
Well, I guess I'm going to monetize the video, so I'm going to monetize the trip. But we went to a flea market, and I did something that I don't think any channel has ever done, and that is I didn't do any sourcing. I basically had my buddy, who has not ever sold a thing in his life on eBay, do some sourcing for me, at least make his best attempt. And so that's what the video is going to be about tomorrow.
Did you already put it out?
No, it's going to be dropped tomorrow. So
I mean, I think it's funny because I know the guy and I know him very, very well. So he always makes me laugh. But it's a good video. It's
a different perspective, right? So we always think about things from the reseller lens, right? What would I buy at a flea market? So I mic'd him up. I was mic'd up. I had the gimbal and walking around following him. And he had one goal, and just getting it, that 30, 40-minute piece of video cut into a much shorter video to where you can see what happened. I think it's a pretty good watch. So that'll be going out tomorrow. Let's see. Baubles, blings, and needful things. Lissa says, happy Monday, FAM peeps. FAM? Fam peeps? I hope all cha-chinging loudly for everyone. Great to see you guys. Awesome, John, and beautiful Miss Jenna.
Well, hello, Lissa. It's so nice of you to be here.
Yeah, nice to see you. If I had my way, though, I was going to have my little StreamYard deck and was going to be able to hit the button, and Jenna's going to have her own little cam. So she starts talking.
I'm not mad about the technical difficulties. I'm really not.
Yeah, well, it's coming.
I don't know why, but your face, is there some kind of filter on this video?
It might be. I might
because your face is nice and smooth and like filtered.
Nice and smooth.
Mine is not.
Baby smooth. That's just the way
it does look baby smooth.
I look good at 50, don't I?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Joseph Martin says John can't find a hat to wear.
That's why we were late. You'll see all the
okay.
reasons.
Well, actually, she wanted me to wear a hat.
I had nothing to do with why we were late. I had nothing to do.
It's not her fault.
It wasn't mine. I was sitting here patiently waiting.
No, you weren't sitting here.
You
weren't sitting here.
He was throwing a tantrum.
I was like, I had to reboot the computer. I'm like, tell them we're going to be late.
He was throwing a tantrum.
No One Design says Jenna's technical difficulties once again is code for she's trying to wake John up.
John doesn't sleep, so that wouldn't be it.
I do not sleep, and I did not sleep this weekend. My friend's guest room, that bed is like, you want to torture somebody? That's exact. And if Tim, you're watching, sorry, dude, it's time to buy a new bed frame on that. Jovial Juggler says, just so happens to be National Challenge Champions Day. Congrats, Beard. Hey, FA fam. Wow. Poor Beard. DM Ephemera says, hello, everyone. Too much moisture in the system.
No, there's not enough.
Texas Bandit, take him a fresh roll and tell him to pinch it off, Jen. Wow.
No, that wasn't it either.
PG says, hello, John, Jen in the chat. Happy Monday to everyone.
Hi,
thanks for being here,
Ping.
Ping. Nice to see you. We have Paul Rose says, hi, John and Jenna, just popping in to say hello. 11 p.m. and just shut down. Looks like cereal for dinner again. Have a good one. I don't know what we're going to have. It's like, it's all frozen.
You were really cranky right before this live.
Well, I was cranky. It's like, you have a plan and the plan doesn't go your way. You're like, this is BS. I spent extra time instead of listing outside. I spent time to put towards this production. And I'm like, if I just had 20 more minutes, I would have had it set up right. But you know what? I think it's probably important to me more than anyone else. I mean, you guys don't tune in to get like multiple camera views. And once I get the Stream Deck going the way I want to, it'll be actually a little bit more entertaining show. But to me, it's a disappointment.
Right. But I think your problem is you give yourself only this window and you don't account for any problems that could go wrong. And there's always a problem. There is always a problem when we do anything. It's just the Miller luck. Okay.
Not supposed to be that.
And you only, for every task that he ever does, he gives himself, it's either 15 minutes or an hour, 1 hour, not an hour and 1 minute.
No, it was an hour and 20.
So he doesn't allow himself room for.
This one was an hour and 20, and I spent the hour trying to get these damn cameras to work, but they were working, but not the way I wanted them to. And then mounting them on the wall, right? This, that, other thing. So these are things that I need to just reserve an evening for and just do. But what do? Nope, I don't do that. Samantha says, John, to answer your prologue statement, I leave the buyer feedback because eBay has this feature, and I'm following what sellers do. Transaction ending feedback lets me know it went okay. Now, if you leave a buyer feedback, right when they pay, I would say chances are more likely that they're going to reciprocate. A lot of times people will email you, where's my feedback? How come you haven't left me feedback? How many times have we had to say, oh, we don't leave feedback unless you leave it for us first? I mean, it kind of comes off as petty. And the conversation on Primo's channel has got me thinking, like, why do I still do that? I mean, that's not the most customer friendly way. I mean, yeah, we're kind of all on the defensive for bad buyers, but I'd rather focus my energy on the 95% of good buyers. And then when the 5% come along and sting me with the negative, I ain't going to be able to answer back. I mean, they already got their positive. Whether I leave them a positive when they pay or don't leave them one at all, it's not changing anything in the world. It's not changing what happened. It's not changing the buyer's, next time that they go out and screw somebody. It's not changing anything at all, except if you go in and leave that false positive, maybe you're making yourself feel better. At what expense? At your account's expense. Because if someone complains, that's going to be a ding on you. You just can't violate policy like that. Spam Banshee says, aloha, J&J and chatter. Thanks for being here. Jackie Bleckner says, hi, all. Thanks for being here, Jackie.
Hello.
Got Archie. Haven't heard from him in a hot minute.
Here.
What up, FA fam?
Don't drive off the road.
Let's see. Spam says, live in love. Samantha, oh, look at Romeo and Cleopatra. You two look fabulous. No hat, John. Nice. Jenna, you look like spring. Smile. Spring. Are we past that?
I really want fall.
Yeah.
I'm so ready for fall.
Noah Design says, I try to automate everything. If I had my way, I would automate my wife. Well, there's technology. They got technology out for that. Lissa says, this show is too professional for technical difficulties. That's Roman and I'm modus operandi, but any wait for this hangout is worth it. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I mean, what did they wait? 3-4 minutes? Maybe that.
I don't know.
Jovio says, I think whatever camera you're using today is the best picture thus far.
Really?
Well, it must be
and he keeps calling it the crap camera.
Because the good camera.
And so I said, why do you keep calling it a crap camera if you just bought it? Why would you buy a crap camera?
Okay. I didn't buy I got the Razr Pro, which is what we have, the original one. And then I bought 2 Razr X's, which were, I didn't need to spend $150 when I can only when I had to spend $50. It's cheaper. Save a couple $100.
Well, it doesn't mean it's crap until you.
It's crap compared to the one.
Until you know that
it's
crap.
Wasn't sure, but thanks for confirming that. So it's nice shirt, buddy.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Junk Trader says, I do not reward terrorists and have had some really bad buyers, so I do not.
I do not reward terrorists.
I get it. We got some bad people on this platform that do some crappy things. They are very rude to sellers. They don't read when they buy from you. They do things that, like, they open a return, they just throw it back in the box. They don't put any effort into making sure it comes back to you in good condition. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just this mindset of like it's themselves and you're just who's the seller. I don't even care. It's like this Amazon buyer mentality that we're dealing with at eBay. But we all are running a business and we have to bring ourselves above that. And I really think it's just a good look to just have it automated as soon as they pay. And that's just, I think, what I'm doing. And I think we need to do things like that. You get a return that's bad, handle it within eBay's system, deduct 50% if you need to, and just move on. Block the buyer and just move on. Don't let your emotions get involved in any of this stuff. Samantha, be back. Someone's at my door. Someone's going to be at our door pretty soon. And I didn't take, FedEx came. But USPS is not.
Yeah, I know, and I didn't put them in a bag, so.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun. Texas Bandit says, because your feedback can be used as a tool to individually push add-on sales to your customer, generic comments are a effing waste of your time. Why do that? I don't ever put my own feedback in. I mean, I filled in the form to do like the 3 or 4, basic 30 or 40 character feedback, single statements, and that was it, right? And that's what loads up when a buyer is left feedback for me. And it hasn't hurt anything, hasn't done it. Automated feedback, I think, is just one less thing as a seller that you need to do. And I think eBay wants you to do it. I don't know if there's any impact anywhere on your account or in the algorithm or your account health if you are constantly putting in good feedback. I think it's just a good look, and we shouldn't get so focused on the negatives with this business as I think a lot of us are. And maybe it seems like that because it's what you guys tune into when you're watching a lot of these videos on YouTube. oh, this buyer sent me back a brick. Oh, this happened, or oh, that happened. And I think that there's some people, including myself at one point, were getting kind of really upset when we got a negative feedback or something that's happened to us. And I think as business owners, we need to be focused a little bit more on the positives and moving forward than all this other crap. Beard says feelings don't have any place in making a business decision. Run a business. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Jerry Johnson says, hello, John, Jenna, and FAE family. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Jerry.
Brenda Smith says, happy Monday, everyone. I leave an automated feedback as soon as I enter the tracking number. As soon as you enter the tracking number. Well, because see.
As soon as it goes up.
Well, but eBay doesn't do that. So I'm kind of wondering, once you get payment, then you can have it set up to leave an automatic generic feedback, one of 4 different things that you've pre-typed in, right? Or if the buyer leaves you a positive feedback, you can have it set up to then leave feedback, and then there is no other option. So curious how you're able to do automated after you put the tracking number in. Chastity says, I used to do automated feedback, but then I would get a bit irked that those who turn around and cancel got a positive feedback when they may not deserve it. Now I do it after I ship. So you're doing it manually. So you've taken an automated process, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, Chastity, at all. I don't, to anyone that does this, or but you did say something there that I think that resonates with a lot of people. You were irked. That's feelings. And so what does it change if someone buys something and they realize, oh no, I bought the wrong size, or oh no, I wasn't supposed to buy this one. I needed to buy that one. We're all human, right? And so they request to cancel. You're disappointed. You accept the cancellation. And now they have a positive feedback that they don't maybe deserve in our mind as sellers. But my thing is, we're dealing with human beings. We're not dealing with robots. And and she says, yes, but plus that gives me a chance to double check tracking loaded from pirate ship on those items, which is good.
Like double checking her work, so it's a reminder. See, I don't think twice. I don't think once about feedback.
I mean, you could be the seller that doesn't even bother with leaving feedback, right? But you are going to upset some buyers that are like, "What's up? How come you haven't left?" You're going to get those messages. I've seen them before I started doing automated, and I could see if someone's building an account and you're like the seller that doesn't leave feedback, how that can be a problem. So I do believe eBay, within the whole sphere of, I don't know whether it's account health. I doubt it's algorithm based, but you have other platforms where you're interacting with buyers like Poshmark. You're following them. You are sharing closets with them. And I believe that eBay wants you to interact with your buyers in some way, shape, or form, especially if they bought from you. You should be giving them feedback in some way. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying there's people out there who don't and don't bother with it at all. And I think that's not a good thing. Land Shark says the eBay feedback system went to crap when sellers can no longer leave negative feedback for a buyer. But that is from a buyer or seller standpoint. From a seller standpoint, because I was there along with you back in the Wild Wild West when we were getting money orders in the mail, telling people don't send cash. They would not be happy with the transaction. They'd leave you a nasty, nasty negative. And some buyer or sellers were going back in and saying, oh yeah, well, your mom smells like poop. Nastiness in the negative feedback. I mean, if you go back, and I think Joe DeMarco, Crazy New York Driver, was telling stories about how one particular seller was calling the buyer a pedophile. I don't think I'm supposed to say that word.
Don't say that on here.
I did. I don't think I finished it, YouTube, so don't cancel me. I didn't say the L word. I think I said pedophile. But nonetheless, I regress. It's a nasty, nasty tactic, and that's why we're never going to get that back, because eBay has seen how sellers can be towards buyers, and the last thing they want to do is to get buyers offended because we've left nasty, nasty negative feedback. So that's not going to happen. And I know there's about, if I put a poll, and I don't know if StreamYard will allow me to, I don't think so. If I put a poll right now, you would have more than half of the sellers saying we should be able to leave negative feedback as sellers. And I know that, I believe it's Craig Landshark Picker, I believe Anissa, and most people that are watching this, most sellers that are watching this would not abuse it that way. Problem is, there's sellers that would, and that's what eBay is trying. And it's always the bad apples that spoil it for everyone else. Undercover treasure hunters, IFA fam listening in while packing some sales, smash that like button all. Yes, please.
Smash the like button for your sale.
Yeah, get a sale in the next
24 hours from this live to get another sale from us.
Flip It Good says, happy Monday. Thanks for being
Monday.
here. My Greta says, good evening. Sales weekend finally came back after 2 weeks of below norm after my trip. Hopefully it stays. Yeah. That time away, it does kind of, I mean, Josh Galt had an issue with his account, came back to like returns and just problems and no sales. And I believe for him, things have started to return a little bit. That's why I like to stay involved, keep the store open, and just play if I need to. If I don't have Jenna sitting at home, handling things for me while I'm gone, have a way to manage just the handling time so that I'm never closing my store. Larry Todd's getting into the act there, or either that or Scott has hijacked his computer. I don't know which one.
No, they were talking about because we have the emoji in there,
Mm-hmm.
and now that Todd is a member, he can utilize his stickers.
The moist emoji.
Yes.
Primo Kimo says, aloha all. Once the buyer pays, they have performed their duty to me and I leave feedback. So and I want someone to answer this for me. What benefit does it do your business? And I'm not talking about your feelings. So when you reply to this in the chat or the comments down below, don't put anything that has to do with how you feel. Okay. I want to know how waiting to leave positive feedback for your buyer, if at all, how that benefits your business moving forward. Because we know that if we encounter a bad buyer, we can simply block them. We don't have to do business with them again. So during the transaction, from the time they pay, this is before they ask to cancel, this is before they open a return, this is before they send you back a brick, this is before all the other things that can happen. Finally, they leave a negative because for whatever reason you didn't see their message and they feel like you're not looking or responding to their concern. So naturally, they're going to leave you a negative. Before all those things happen, versus when it's all done, what's the difference? And what is the benefit to your business for waiting to leave any kind of feedback, if at all? I want to know. I really want to know. And I'm just telling you what I'm doing. This channel is about what I'm doing and sort of explaining why I do it and why I really believe it is more of a business focused decision than anything else. Because if you are going to say that whether this person deserves it or not, then you're kind of allowing your feelings to get in there to discern whether you should leave a positive feedback. Texas Bandit says, hope to deal with you again. Thank you, lame.
That's his reply to his people.
Oh, okay. But you know what? It may feel lame. It may be lame. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, we got to leave this positive feedback for this person. But to them, it might mean something. Biff says, people are so afraid of the occasional negative feedback that they're reluctant to give out positive feedback, which costs nothing. I still want to know, make an argument to me. I agree with you, Biff, what you're saying, but I'm just saying to everyone else out there who feels the opposite way I do about leaving positive feedback, give me one solid reason for waiting to leave a positive feedback versus leaving it right away. Mike Seller says, I auto leave as soon as the buyer pays. Simple and proper in my humble opinion. Because you know what? If it's supposed to be honest. My humble and honest opinion.
In Mike's.
In Mike's humble opinion.
Okay.
How about that one?
Okay.
Or honest opinion. Nonetheless,
there you go, Mike. You got your own IMHO.
And I was going to make a point, and you totally threw me off because of a. Jeez.
I'm sorry.
No Design says my wife had her way. She would try to automate my wallet. This one, right here. Designs Laura says hello FAE. I rarely make the live, and I hit the thumbs up. So putting this to the test for a sale.
Yay!
Well, nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
You.
Bearded says you can be full of it, but still be right on this situation. Just saying. In your eyes, I'm always full of it. No One Design says, John, try to automate your monologue. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be funny. Did you watch his live on Friday?
I watched some of it on the way back from the Angels game. On the way back.
Did you count how many times he showed your helmet picture?
That was wrong. That was wrong. And why are you encouraging that?
I did not encourage it. I told him he was an asshole.
Jolio says, okay, Jenna shared her worsty word. Who else has a worsty word? What is yours?
Thank you. Let's find another word.
Worsty word?
Yeah, moist.
Oh, okay. Well, you said it. Let's see. Trying to get Donkey Waffle says nothing wrong with. Of course, I get the Donkey Waffle. Donkey Waffle says nothing wrong with leaving an explanation in a buyer's feedback, especially if they returned an item in bad faith or scam. You could word it in a professional manner. She's laughing at the dog. That has to be AI.
No.
Or someone had a bad waffle and gave it to their.
This donkey really likes waffles.
But I got to tell you, if it's a negative connotation in a positive feedback, it can be removed and it can actually be counted against you. And do you really want someone at eBay back office like determining if you violated policy or not because it's questionable? I sure don't, based on the decisions that they make. I certainly don't want to have that. You know, you piss off your buyer, they call eBay to say, look at this guy did. And it may seem professional in a negative way, and it can hurt your account. So then now you're wondering, well, why am I not getting sales? You don't even realize you got some dings on your account health that you don't even see. It's not worth it to me. Texas Bandit says, did you know you're a casual drinker? Did not know you were a casual drinker.
He is not a casual drinker.
I don't.
He does not drink.
I mean, is it casual if you have a shot of Fireball like once every year? Probably.
I don't even say it's once every year. Well, I mean, if
maybe
my sisters are around, then they encourage him. But
Spam says our automated feedback says fast payment. Thank you for your purchase. We don't want to say great buyer or similar in the event they have screwed another seller over. Yeah. You can do that. No, nothing wrong with that.
Cha-ching number 2.
Wow.
Todd's on fire.
I mean, he must have hit it just the right way. Susan Phelps says, hey, everyone. Glad to be here.
Hi, Susan.
Nice to see you, Susan. Susan says could be slow because people have kids back in school. School starts at my school August 6th.
Yeah.
Money spent elsewhere.
Yeah. My sister, all of my nieces and my nephew and our granddaughters all start. What is it? It's the week after my sisters come out here to visit on the 8th. So, which would be. They all start like the week of the 12th, and none of them start on Monday. They start on like Thursdays and Fridays, which is weird.
But historically, when kids go back to school, that usually kind of kicks off like more sales because people are on vacation, people are back in their normal grind, and the kids are out of their hair and they don't have to entertain or take kids anywhere anymore. They're back in their normal life, and sales usually return from the summer slowdown. So Karen Abear says, hi, everyone. Glad to be back. Have had a few hard months. My cat of 18 years passed away. Hope you're doing well. Well, sorry to hear about that.
I'm sorry, Karen. That stinks.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same as losing a family member, but it feels the same way.
It does, yeah.
No One Design is seeing Elvis for some reason. That's awesome.
I don't know if you saw Elvis at the poker tournament.
What, Bob Jones? Is that the guy's name? I didn't see him there. PSP? Nope, didn't see any PSP. But I got to tell you, anyone who follows poker that knows like the live stream, like the cash games, like the lady who they accused of cheating, with like she went all in with Jack 4 or whatever, called with Jack 4, Jack high, when the guy had like 10 high and missed his straight. That guy, well, that girl was there at the tournament. It's like, oh crap, she's here. Duncan VR says, got up to 250 listed last night, now at 225. Some good sales to pack. Just another day in my office. Nothing changes. No rest.
That's right.
No rest. There's never rest. And I could barely walk when I got home yesterday. I was messed up bad. I was just screwed up. I think I'm getting a little bit better. I'm better now than I was last night, but I think I twisted my ankle playing golf. You know, when you're walking up and down hills.
You would know.
I did twist it a little bit, but I don't think I twisted it that bad because I was able to play. I didn't wake up the next day with any stiffness in my ankle. So it didn't really start hurting me till after I played on Sunday yesterday.
You're not allowed to go to California because you come back.
Bailey Banks says, what are your thoughts on cross-listing to multiple platforms?
We do it.
I think it's a good idea. I think my theory is that you're going to have people who do not use eBay for any reason. And the more you can get your items out in front of other people, other platforms, the better. Now, we use TreeCat to do that. There's a link down below if you want to check it out. There's other ones out there as well, but you shouldn't be doing it manually, because if you do it manually, you're going to cause yourself a lot of work. It's just you're pulling your hair out. Find a good tool that you can utilize for all the platforms, like TreeCat, for instance. And that's one way you can maybe get your items out in front of more people. It works, because we have stuff that would still be sitting in our store if not. The great reseller life. James says, sneaking in, leaving an SBD to see if anyone notices as I put my innocent face. What is SBD?
What is an SBD?
Seller. I'm not even going to try to even know what SBD means.
SBD.
But if you can put that in the chat, I'd appreciate that. I'd like to know what that means. Noah Designs says, played a little golf, do a little dance, because you meant
played golf. A little gold.
Golf. See, you gotta read below.
Yeah, well, you don't ever.
Larry Todd says, get moist tonight.
Wow, Todd.
Are you getting moist tonight, Larry? No, that's
Larry.
Nice. Larry Todd. Play a little gold is for Larry. Texas Bandit says, oh my, moist cake, need a cup of coffee. I have a few cases on eBay.
Nobody likes dry cake.
Callie Deb says, sounds like it's going to be a fun video, John. I'd like to think it is. He was a good sport.
Funny.
He was a good sport.
He's a good sport. I was surprised that he did it at all, because, he's very, can be rough around the edges if you don't know him. And he doesn't understand the reselling business.
You'll see.
Whatsoever.
You'll see.
And so it's funny. Spam
Banshee says, I deleted my other comment. Our auto feedback says, fast payment, thank you for your purchase.
Oh,
that's pretty good. That's good. Karen Abier says, I have been putting items for sale in my shop for 25 to 30% off to generate sales. Like another reseller said, we're into reselling, not hoarding items. I said that.
That's right.
Well, I also said we're not here to open a museum, right? So you're not charging admission for someone coming in your house, right? You're not doing tours of your house when people come over to visit. That stuff that we have is to sell and get rid of. So certainly I do think anything that you can do to try to move your stuff, whether it's through markdown sales, through coupons, even, the end item sell similar, getting that new item boost, all the things, you got to be proactive. I'm proactive. And what do we have? We had 20.
Oh, we had way too many.
We had 21 on the main account.
I am in so much pain. I can't even extend my arm out from this position.
Now I'm picking all the items. I'm taking all these big boxes and I'm bringing them into her area. So she's making sure that everything's packed up good. She's putting the labels on there, and then she'll take it out into the living room.
It literally took me.
But Friday we had 624.
4 hours. To pack.
624 in sales. Saturday 688. I think it's 88, yeah. And then Sunday 527. Today 105. So I'm hoping that people are at work and they're just taking their time to buy.
SBD is silent but deadly.
Silent but deadly. Okay.
You got a scratch on your ear.
I usually do.
No, you don't.
I'm usually beat up. Noah Design says, Jenna, that is because John is sitting in front of the toilet seat. It's casting a shade on John's face. That ain't right. You guys beat me up. Beard says, Rhonda, stop trolling Beard. I don't think he appreciates that. Just playing follow the leader, Beard. So if you could dish it out, you need to take it. Duncan VR says, Jenna could make her secret family burger recipe. Jenna is glowing today.
Oh, thank you, Duncan.
Do you have a secret family burger recipe?
I don't. It's no secret, but I do have a recipe that I
What is the
used
recipe?
to use.
Get frozen patty.
No.
Put it on skillet.
It's not frozen. It's
See, it's frozen.
It's not frozen.
Alyssa says, "Oh, Jenna,
you have to stuff the meat.
Men
so
always
can't be
throwing the
frozen.
women under the bus when they turn the show on late. Guess
Right.
it's in their handbook. Behind every great man is the woman brushing off tread marks with a smile."
That is right.
I did not blame it on her.
No, and
It wasn't her fault.
He better take full
It
responsibility.
was 100% me thinking that I knew what the hell I was doing, and
Well,
I
you
obviously
do, but
don't.
you're trying to do so. He's trying to put the cameras up, make sure that they work right. Then he's got to go in there and trim his hair, and then he's got to wash his hair because now he has hair all over. And then he's got to change his shirt. But there's only so much time.
How do you get so smooth like this?
I don't understand.
It's just when you're 50 and you're smooth like this.
It went away.
It did not.
It did.
Did it?
Yeah.
It did not go away.
It did. You put your hands over your face and it went away.
It did not go away.
It did. Now it's on me. Look, maybe it's when you sit closer.
Samantha says, I'm ready for fall too, Jenna.
Yes, I'm so ready for fall.
And-
I am so over this heat. I could just scream.
Rob something says, I really don't understand all the feedback drama. I leave buyer positive when items delivered. I have no control over what the buyer decides to leave me beside providing an item as described.
Absolutely. It's not, Beard.
I just think that there's people that feel like, this is the word, feel like the buyer doesn't deserve it, or the buyer canceled on me.
The buyer doesn't deserve it.
But okay, so we should be doing everything that we do within our business should be accomplishing something to further the business.
I agree.
And so if we're so focused on how do we get this buyer back because they made me feel this way, they wronged me, and so is that energy to do that furthering our business? It's not. It's just not. So by automating the feedback, whether either one of those things, whether it's when they make the payment or when it shows that they've sent you positive, for me it automates it. That's one less thing that you have to work on and deal with, right? You just there's a lot of people that don't have that, and they wait, they see what the buyer does, and they want to make sure that the buyer is a good boy or a good girl before they're rewarding them with a positive feedback. And for me, it's just an extra thought that you have that doesn't help your business at all. No One Design says crack camera, maybe. Bearded Picker, John is not ready for 4K cameras. Makeup ain't easy. Duncan says, John, have you made your sales target this month? I'm happy where we're at. We're up 3% over last 7 days, 3,300. Last 31, 14,500. So yes, I would say the answer to that question is yes.
Where are you reading those numbers?
Right there.
31, what are you?
3,335 last 7 days. 14,500. 14,549.
I see it now.
Yeah. Great reseller life. If a buyer goes bad, I leave a follow-up to my feedback. It stands out more than the first positive and makes others notice it. Yeah. If a buyer leaves a negative feedback, I think you should always put a reply to the buyer, and that's where you want to be professional and say, I think sometimes, and I've seen a lot of these negative feedback replies where the seller just gets nasty with the buyer. And How does that make you look when the person that you're now going to be doing business with, who's looking at you and saying, you know what, I'm about to spend $300 on this item. And trust me, people who are spending big money on items take a little bit more time to vet the seller because they don't want to get screwed. I think that's one big fear a lot of people have with doing business online. So now they take a moment to see this feedback, and okay, you have a negative feedback, but now you just enhanced that negative feedback to make you look even worse because you went off on that buyer instead of saying, hey, you know what? Buyer didn't reach out to us. We would have offered them a free return, and we still are, but they haven't contacted us. You know, buy with confidence, whatever you want to say. But instead, you're wasting that to beat up a buyer. Like, that makes you feel good, but it only hurts your business. So I agree, that is something everyone should be doing, leaving that reply. Henri Squaw, I don't leave feedback until the transaction is complete. It has to be delivered. I just feel that it is an honest way to do business. So when you say complete, though, that, because when it's delivered, that's still a manual process. So you see it's delivered, you go in and you put the feedback in, because you only have two settings. You have when the buyer pays for it or when the buyer leaves you a positive. So I would encourage you to look into one of those two options, so that's something you don't even have to think about anymore.
Yeah, it's just an extra step. I feel like if there's an automation for it, you should utilize it. Don't waste your time on such a minuscule thing.
Because many times the buyer's you're never going to hear from the buyer again after they pay. I mean, in most cases, I would say, based on the feedback, and I may not have the right answer on this, but I would say less than 50%, maybe less than 25% of buyers actually even bother with leaving feedback. So all those other buyers who just look, I want my item, I'm buying it, I get it, I open it, I use it, I'm happy. I don't even remember that I bought it. I'm happy. Most of those people aren't going to be, bothering with it. So I would say, for me, if you're waiting to look for a delivery scan, that means you're spending time looking up tracking numbers and all this stuff. That's time that you could be spending, whether it's on your business or away from the business. But I don't think that's really productive time, if I'm just being honest with you, but we all do things differently. No One Designs says the guy who is emotional about his camera, but that's not about business. See,
John is very emotionful.
I can have my emotions on my sleeve, right? But we get the job done. Karen says, I had a bad buyer, demanded 50% off refund. I informed him I don't give partial refunds, but he can return the item for a full refund. Very good. He told me to get bent, threatened negative feedback, blocked him.
Wow.
I would say, look, we don't offer partial refunds, as I've said. If you want to leave a negative feedback, go right ahead. However, there's a problem with the item, you should probably want to send it back. Why? Or, why would you want to keep an item that's not to your satisfaction? You know what? You're going to get a negative. I think so many people are so concerned about getting a negative or avoiding a negative or that threat. And this is where we give buyers that ammunition against us. The whole idea, you better do this or I may give you negative feedback. And now we're like, oh, no, I can't have that. Guess what? You're going to get a negative feedback. And I got 3 this last week. That's like the first time that's ever happened. And I still got good sales. So for me, follow up with a professional reply and move on.
I think it's more people. I mean, there's people out there that are just vengeful and they use that as a tool to get revenge. And it's not healthy.
James says, plus feedback is another way to get your store noticed. So automatic feedback is the way to go. Yeah. Put something, in there. Another great value trends buyer or whatever you insert store here, right? And I don't have to think about it. Callie Debs says, leaving automated feedback is one of the best things I've ever done. It's such a time saver.
Yeah.
Beard says, I just wanted it for the record. I left a serious comment today. Somebody mark that down.
What?
Yeah, we'll put it on our calendar.
Wow.
Gail says, I had a wrong item shipped to a buyer, sent the correct item along with a return label for the wrong item to be sent back. 2 weeks now, contacted him, no response. Is there any recourse?
Wow.
You're not getting it back.
Mm-mm.
Now,
We've done that.
Yeah, they just look. Buyers care about them. People care about themselves. They care about what they have going on. Do they want to have to go to a post office and drop it off? Maybe they don't have their carrier coming to the door. They're not going to take the effort, right? So just, I would say, write it off. You did the right thing in being proactive.
Yeah.
You could have said, look, here's a return label. As soon as there's an acceptance scan, I will send out the next one. But then again, I still think you did the right thing in just doing right by the buyer. And if it's your mistake, if you make a mistake and it's not because of what the buyer did, then you need to go that extra mile. And sometimes we got to be trusting and knowing that you're probably not going to get that other item back.
Yeah.
Brenda Smith says, I hand write my labels, so I entered it after tracking. Remember, I only sell part-time.
Handwrite. Oh my God, I would die.
So
I know you only sell part-time.
But I really want to know though, why do you not just run the labels through eBay and handwrite? I'm wondering if you are handwriting, if you're paying too much for your labels, if you're going in like to your local post office and paying full retail, if you have a printer, you can run your labels that way. You don't even have to have a thermal printer, and then just use your scissors, cut them out, and just tape it to your box. Even tape it to your poly bag. We used to do that when we first started, and you're probably going to save money in the process, and you don't have to deal with tracking numbers or anything like that. It automatically loads into the system. Texas Bandit says, got back a quart of cheap oil instead of the MSD hot rod ignition that I sent.
Oh,
wow. And hopefully you weren't into it for too much. Biff Boffo, if you leave a positive feedback and someone turns out to be a dirtbag, who cares? Feedback costs nothing and it means almost nothing. Automation saves time, and that does count for something.
Exactly. I mean, if you really think about it, who's it hurting? You're going to move on with life. They're going to move on with life, and nobody's ever going to think about it again.
Yeah. If eBay really wants to change the feedback system, what they should do, rather than having sellers leave negative, which a lot of you guys feel like you should, but those of us who were around back in the day know how that could really, really go bad, and a company doesn't want to see that kind of thing happen. So as an alternative, what could maybe happen is non-paying strikes, or the number of times a buyer's been reported by a seller. And sometimes it's automatically reported when you're using the refund tool, and maybe have a count next to in their profile, or maybe next to their feedback rating or something like that. You know what? Buyers may not like that, but they'll understand that it's being tracked, and maybe they'll do better, right? I think if we have something like that, it'll allow us sellers to make better informed decisions than just looking at feedback to see what they've left for sellers, and we can actually see their behaviors. It may not hurt their account. They may not get suspended by eBay, because we know it takes a lot of bad buyer behavior to get suspended on eBay, but at least it allows us sellers to determine if we want to take that offer, right? I think that's an alternative if eBay is willing to do something like that. No Design says, is this the Twilight Zone? Jenna is not using the 16-foot tumbler and using a regular cup. No, that is the
Here's the 16-footer.
I got my own. There you go.
But yes, I did. I was drinking something else. So
yeah, not alcohol related.
No.
Susan Phelps says, I leave positive feedback once the item has been delivered. I do message the buyer to let them know the package was sent, and then another one that says it was delivered. I mean, that's good customer service. If you have the time to do it, I would encourage you.
So much time.
I would encourage you, though, if you're going to do something like that, to have something already written out, like a template that you can just go and copy and paste. You're not hand typing it every time. And maybe to go a step further, get a little card made up with that same thing, and then put it in your packages, so you don't have to go through all that.
Yeah.
Anything that even if you're part-time, anything that you can do to save yourself extra steps in doing all this stuff to sell on eBay, the better you're going to feel about doing eBay. Mike Seller says, I send automatic feedback when they pay, but I also reply to all positive feedback that the buyer leaves me. Okay. It makes me feel better, and I think the buyer feels better too. And I think it makes you look good to your prospective buyers who, believe it or not, you may not be the one that does this. I am. But you may not be the type of buyer that does this, but I am on everything I buy. I am looking at the buyer's feedback or the seller's feedback to see if there's a chance that I'm going to be pulling my hair out because they didn't ship it on time, or they made a mistake, or they maybe misrepresented the item. I'm looking at that kind of stuff.
Just so you know, you can't afford to pull your hair out.
I do. It's not easy. It's really not easy. If you have long hair, it's easier to pull your hair out. Ping says, no recourse. Should have had the buyer file a return request for the wrong item. You send return shipping labels and refund when you get the item back. Buyer then repurchases the item. But the thing is, I mean, everyone's going to, if we're talking about a $10 item, to me, if I make a mistake and send the wrong color out, I would probably do what she did. If we're talking about $100 item, I'm not doing that. I'm going to probably say, look, I need to get this back. I would probably say something to the effect of, as soon as it shows that it's back in the mail, I will then send this out to you. I would probably go that far. And now I see it.
But we have done what she did.
Yes, but I would never do it on a $100 or $200 item.
Yeah.
Magic Aces says, hi guys, great show. I'm not a fan of crapless craps. Takes away the don't pass in 50% of the game. Answer from last week's question. Yes, they have these machines, and they're intriguing where they change the rules of the game, craps. And it's like, wow, I can really get paid for hitting 12 or 11 or 2 or 3, but I've lost like $300 playing that game. I don't think I'm playing it again. Chastity says, I leave it in bulk after I ship using random feedback options, so it's not automated, but it takes only a few seconds. I'm okay with my process. Yeah. And I guess that is the bottom line, right? If you're okay with your process, then continue to do your process. Yeah. If you're looking at ways to kind of take things away so that you don't have to deal with, sort of like anything you can automate, it is like hiring somebody to do the work for you. So maybe if you look for things that you can automate, and the more that eBay allows you to automate, I think you're going to
That's like,
enjoy it.
If I could have someone automate my laundry, I would be the happiest woman alive. And I mean, I don't mind doing dishes. I'd rather do dishes than laundry, but I always I don't really say it to you, but when my son was home, I would tell him all the time, where's the dishes fairy? I would love to automate the dishes.
Which is it, laundry or dishes? You said you don't mind the dishes.
I don't mind the dishes, but if I could automate the dishes and the laundry,
Diamond Roy says, yeah, returns happen for a bunch of different reasons. For example, I recently sold a TaylorMade driver, the head of the driver, for $90. About 2 weeks ago, I got a return request over the weekend. Yeah, and you probably had someone who couldn't hit the driver straight and had nothing to do with the driver, had everything to do with them. Yeah. Susan Phelps says, I think buyers should be required to message seller to take care of any problems and then allowed to leave feedback. I had mentioned this a couple years ago, and then after I mentioned this, they actually started doing it where they were trying to leave a negative, and they said to the buyer, reach out to your seller, and then after a few days, come back and leave the negative. It was a thing for a short period of time. It's not a thing now, but I believe that if someone just bought your item and they're looking to leave a negative, eBay should really tell them what they tell us every time we call them, right? Reach out to your buyer. Well, they should reach out to the seller and try to work with the seller. But how many negatives arise because they don't even think about reaching out to the seller? They go on and leave a negative feedback. And I don't think eBay should even be asking, because, eBay goes in and sends that little message saying, rate your transaction. And now I guess they're asking people to rate the item, right? Almost like you made the item.
That has nothing to do with you.
Well, I mean, how dare you sell an item that could break, or how dare you source an item that is cheap that could maybe break, and now the buyer gets to grade the item, and that's a reflection of you,
That
right?
is insane to me.
Henri Squaw, then they should get rid of feedback altogether. But the argument there is you're trying to build buyer trust. And I think sometimes we see feedback from a seller's lens and we don't see it from eBay's perspective, right? eBay is supposed to be this referee. Unfortunately, they put their thumb on the scale, right, for the buyer. We all see it. But eBay is supposed to be this referee that's supposed to be there to kind of keep a fair marketplace. So to remove negative feedbacks or positive feedback or all feedbacks, you're going to eliminate a lot of trust that they've built for the buyer, I think. I just don't think they can do it. Beer says we have sellers that were shipped on a cereal box. Do you really think they won't use feedback as a weapon? They do. They do. If you've been around on eBay long enough, I don't remember when, maybe James out there knows the answer, but what year eBay went from allowing the buyer or the seller to leave a negative feedback to eliminating that. I think it was like 2007 or 8. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's been a while. And they did it because they knew that there's people out there who aren't focused on their business. They are just casual sellers. And how dare you say that about me? Because, you've hurt my pride. I'm going to go in there and show you. And they leave a nasty, nasty negative feedback. It used to happen all the time. Lissa says, when they took away our ability to leave negative in 2008, what a good guess that was. And I didn't see that remark.
I know.
I sat at my desk bawling, saw the future problems that caused. 16 years later, here we still are. Mm-hmm. What was your concern at the time? What were you worried about back then when they took away the ability to leave a negative for a buyer? What were you thinking was going to happen? For me, it eliminates a lot of the nasty back and forth, right? Buyer leaves a negative. If you want to go and leave a false positive, you're putting your account at risk, I guess. You're not doing yourself any favor, I don't think. Beard says, I noticed that you skip my comment, moist. Sometimes I'll skip your comments. Diamond Roy says, I was talking to one of my coworkers at my full-time job today about my reselling, and she mentioned that she'd never shop on eBay again because she was scammed out of money. I guess something with PayPal. Yeah, PayPal was the payment processor that was used up until, I believe, 2020 officially. And look, one transaction that goes wrong will be enough to make people go away. And that's why I think it's important. That's why we get on here and we tell you, hey, best practices, guys. Think of running a business and how a business would run. And think of the things that you're doing, because, yeah, you might not care about this buyer. You might even go and block that buyer. But that buyer, I think we all can agree, we want buyers, good or bad. I mean, we'd rather have all the good ones, but we want to keep buyers on the platform. And if you're chasing buyers away because you feel a certain kind of way, then I'm not going to get that sale from that buyer who's now buying on another platform. And hopefully they find it because I'm cross listing, right? But it shouldn't have to be that way. FH says, good evening from the UK.
Good evening.
Thank you for being here. Texas Bandit says, don't forget that I have warm, cozy winter socks to go with these new winter boots you just purchased. I can still get them in the package.
That's
Junk Traders, it doesn't benefit or hurt my business if I leave it or not. My job is to deliver as described product in a timely manner. Okay. It doesn't, if you never leave a positive feedback for a buyer, I guess the case could be made that it doesn't hurt your business in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if there's any negative impact if you have 200-300 positives or 200-300 transactions waiting for you to put positive feedback. I do know that eBay kind of has a thing there to tell you, hey, you still need to leave feedback for these buyers. But I firmly believe if you're spending extra time getting back against the buyer because they upset you in some way, I think you're just wasting your time. Your time's better spent. And I know some people think it's going to make you feel better, but I really think moving on from that would probably make you feel even better than that. DM Ephemera says, starting in eBay in 1998, I agree with John. Negatives for buyers will never return. Too much retaliation and vindictiveness. Leaving a response to negative will help if anyone ever reads it. Best you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Beard got a sale. He's hitting the thumbs up again. Don't hit it again. Just once.
He already did. Just wait.
Karen says, I leave positive feedback when they pay for the item. Paul Rose, I have 100% on both accounts and wouldn't mind if they scraped it all together. Scrapped it. Well, that says scrap. That is scrap. Scraped would be 1T, wouldn't it? 1P. It should be, if you're a bad seller, you're shit down. If you're a consistent bad buyer, you should be shut down. I agree. And I was thinking, here I am reading that wrong. You actually did say shit. You did mean to say shut. Okay. Nonetheless, Junk Trader, if I leave a good feedback for a nightmare buyer, then I'm doing the community a disservice, in my opinion. How?
I can see what she's saying.
Well, they're going to get their positive feedback. If they continue to use that account to buy other items from other people, then one less positive, because you're going to show them. I just want to know how does that do anything to change anything?
I think what she's trying to say is that it's for future buyers, or yeah.
So if there's a buyer out there who has 1,000, because a lot of these nasty buyers, they have hundreds, if not thousands, of feedback, right? Yeah. So one less feedback on their account is going to change their behavior. How? I just want to know.
I don't agree, but
because it's not like they're getting graded in the algorithm. I
can see what she's saying.
It's not like buyers are graded in the algorithm the way we're graded, right? So our account health is taken into effect when they're putting all this stuff together to say, okay, John's item's in slot 10 when it could have been in slot 7 because there's things in his account health that he could have done better. But we're going to put him in the 7th slot today for this search, right? Okay, so eBay doesn't utilize that against the buyer in any way, shape, or form. They just don't.
I guess what she's trying to say is, like, she's trying to warn the community, like, hey, this buyer is a nightmare, so be warned.
But because we know as sellers that buyers can't get negative feedback, when we're trying to, the only time you're going to vet your buyer, by the way, is when you have a possible, they make you an offer, right? So you have an offer. Now you're trying to determine, I'm going to click on their feedback and I'm going to see who I'm dealing with, right? So really what I do, and I don't know what I do and what everyone else does can be different, but I'm spending no more than a minute or two. I'm going feedback left for others. Does it look like Christmas? A lot of red and greens. I'm concerned. If there's all greens, I'm relieved. If it's all red, it's not happening. Okay, I'm going to decline the offer because I don't want to be that next red mark. I just don't want to deal with it. It's not worth the problem. So that's how I vet. Now, if this person has 1,000 feedback, are you going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages or more of feedback looking for that false positive to say, yeah, here it goes. This person sent back a rock. I don't know. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on offers. Big Dre, I almost call you Dr. Dre. I always reply to feedback and leave positive feedback unless the buyer didn't pay or canceled. But it seems eBay never stops reminding me to leave feedback for these cancellations. Yeah. They do. They harass you with all the stuff. It's like annoying. You get a return as soon as that thing is scanned. It's like, you got it, refund the money.
Yeah.
And that's Beard's worst word. Samantha Hunter says, yeah, but don't forget now eBay lets them put the photos with it.
Yeah.
And that I don't
where
get.
They went wrong.
I don't get that. I mean, eBay's never explained that. It doesn't. I just don't get it. I mean, it's like, okay, the buyer was able to leave you a negative feedback, so we're just going to rub your nose into it that much more. Buyer's going to put the worst possible photo, and it may not even be the one they bought from you. It might be the one that they are trying to replace.
Yeah.
Mike Gertis says, I go a step further with my auto feedback and think all new buyers for leaving me positive feedback. I also asked them to follow my store, which I wish that was automated. Yeah, you can't automate all the customer service, but at least that's one aspect of it that eBay allows you to automate. FH says, do you think eBay is built on trust, as buyers can claim many things and it's likely eBay will rule in the buyer's favor? Yeah. Well, we're talking about trust in the average buyer's eyes, right? So as sellers, we're constantly looking over our shoulder, wondering where the next bad buyer is coming from. Just a matter of time. You're going to get a bad return. You're going to get a bad buyer that doesn't read the listing. Like one time I sold a used item to someone and they said, you said it was open box, brand new. No, there's no verbiage like that at all in this listing. It's used and has scratches. And I put everything that was wrong with it that you're upset about. And somehow maybe you bought the item that was open box that was new, and then after you checked out, maybe eBay showed you my item, which was $20 cheaper. You decided to maybe cancel that and go with mine, remembering what you read in that first listing. I think that's more likely. But we have buyers that really need to be assured that they're not going to get screwed over. And I think that the feedback system, it is very, very broken, but it can't be eliminated altogether. I think if you eliminated tomorrow the feedback system where there is no feedback at all, there would be a certain percentage of buyers who wouldn't buy on the platform anymore. They couldn't vet who they were doing business with. Jovial says, y'all realize you probably helped Jenna overcome her worsty word by overusing it, right? Samantha says, I'm sorry, eBay lets them leave photos with the feedback. It's horrible. I don't even understand why they allow that to happen. JRKR 1964, hi everyone, sales are pretty good, at least for July. I agree, but I can tell you July was the same for me last year, and then came August. And like the last part of August, things seemed to kind of fall off for me. So I am really going to be hyper-focused on getting better stuff up the latter part of Q3 into Q4, because I'm finding right now prices for lots that I've been buying are going up, and there's more competition to buy these lots. One of my local liquidators, they have a website, and unbeknownst to me, I screwed up. I got suspended from buying from them, and I had to talk to their customer service and say, hey, look, there's something wrong here, because I didn't win this lot. I did not win this lot. I don't know if they pushed it back on me because the first person didn't pay. I don't know. I didn't win this lot, and you're holding it against me. And look at my history. They reinstated me. Normally they charge you $200 to reinstate when you don't. That's how serious some of these liquidators can get. And it's like, this is an honest mistake. I don't know how it happened, but they reinstated me back, and I'm able to buy from them again. So that is a bullet dodged. And for me, I'm just going to be buying as much as I can now, because as we get into Q4, there's going to be a lot of people realizing, hey, Q4 is almost here, and you're going to have more competition to buy some of the stuff that, like, I think the best time to buy for me is like from February to June. I get the best deals with liquidation. So this is the hard part of the year. I have to try to figure out, how do we improve over last year's numbers? Because last year's numbers weren't all that great as compared to the first half of the year. Beard got a sale for a third time. That's awesome.
Wow. That's awesome.
Paul says, when do we get a chance to attach screenshots of the quarter price offers or certain messages that don't even look like English? See, again, they don't want us to make the buyers look bad, right? And to be honest with you, if we were in the business of saying what we really felt about these buyers, we wouldn't look so good, to be honest with you. We would just not look good to serious buyers. Let's see, Wellman 867. I'm on a vacation and haven't sold a thing since leaving my small store on time away, but it's okay. Plan to get back to listing when I get back. Hope you feel better soon. Well, thank you. I I feel okay. My leg. I don't know who you're talking to as far as the get better soon part.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't told you any of my ailments yet, but
Are you feeling better
I
today?
have a really bad migraine right now, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's this light blaring in my eyeballs.
It could be. Because we were doing lives with not a lot of light, and it was driving me crazy. I felt like I was in a dark room.
It's doing a number on me right now.
Beard says, you don't know how lucky you are that I keep some comments to myself. As you should.
Yes. We are very lucky.
Nobody likes dry cake.
That's right.
Wellman 867. Yes, buyers should be required to let sellers know they have a problem. Yeah. And it's almost like most buyers don't even think that they're doing business with a third-party seller or business. It's like in the back of their mind, they're doing business with eBay, and they're leaving feedback from the eBay sale that they got. And it doesn't really dawn on them to reach out to anyone. They are reaching out. They're leaving feedback through eBay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was for your ankle. You complained about your hurting.
It still hurts. I mean, I was walking like a robot.
Well, yesterday was worse. He was crying.
I'm like, I can't even stand on this thing. Beard says, I'm going to start an Airbnb. Come sleep in the garage full of stuff. Take your life into your own hands. Duncan, Jenna's burger is not frozen. She actually cooks them. Ha ha. Samantha says, John, I'm thinking a feedback should be only a tool for buyers and sellers who work out an issue before they hit the refund return button. Feedback should be for that, right?
I don't know that should be where you do feedback or do working out an issue should be done in messages. I feel
that's what she's saying.
Oh, is that what
she's saying? To be a tool for buyers and sellers to work out an issue before they hit the refund. I believe so. I agree.
It should be only a tool for buyer and seller to work out an issue.
Yes, before they hit the refund return button. You forgot a word. Before. Keyword. Before.
Right, but I don't think. I see what she's saying, but I think it should be done in a message, not in the feedback slot. Hey, I'm having a problem with this item. Is there something you can do to help me? And then they can proceed and do a refund or a return. Right.
Because I mean,
I don't think it should be. I think feedback is exactly what it needs to be. It needs to be you are giving feedback on your experience with that seller.
I think if you leave a negative feedback for a seller, it grays out the return button. It basically says, if you're closing out the transaction by leaving this negative feedback, then the return button is no longer available to you. So that forces them to now work with the seller to open a return if necessary and go through all that process. So I think that's what they should do. Now, will they ever take my advice? Probably not. I'm just some guy who sells out of his garage. Samantha says, part 2, not so much good or bad transaction. I don't know. The function needs to change. It does need to change. And you know what you could do? You could actually set it up to where, before I was saying how you can see how many times the buyer didn't pay. You can go and see how many times the buyer, was reported by other sellers, and maybe make that hidden to other buyers, but make it available to you as a seller. I don't know, but there's got to be a way that we can know that we're dealing with a person who's a serial this or that.
I personally just think, who the fuck cares? It's just feedback. Move on with your life.
But there's a lot of people who care. A lot of people who get really upset.
I get it. I do get it. But I guess I'm at a different stage in my life where I don't care anymore.
I'm not losing sleep over the 3 I got this week.
That's what I'm saying. There is bigger fish to fry, and that's the least of my worries.
I didn't even fight them. I didn't even go in and ask to get them removed. I'm just going to, our sales are still good. Obviously, it's not that big of a hit to me and, our items in the algorithm. So if you want to threaten me with a negative feedback, I might even give them a URL link to how to do it. Beard says the secret is She buys a Hungry Man meal instead of the regular ones.
That is not true. I hate those meals. For one, they're disgusting. And for two, it's actual ground beef, and you finely chop an onion. You use Worcestershire sauce and garlic and a few other sprinkles of this, that, and the other, and you put it on the grill. Okay. It's so yummy. I don't think I've ever made them for you.
And we, oh my goodness. You haven't?
No.
Oh, see? She's been holding back all these years.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not worth it. Silver Hair says, my auto feedback, you're the best buyer in eBay history, and a book should be written about you. But, okay, why not? Why not?
Now that's a little extreme.
The only party in a transaction that should have feelings, you should get feelings, should be the buyer. I think the sellers should leave the feelings out of it. Let the buyers, and I think our job as sellers is to make them feel great about themselves for buying from us, and I think that's a great way to do that. Beard says, my auto feedback is big girl. I hope you know how your big girl is.
Now that would be funny.
Yeah. Samantha says, I wish eBay stops penalizing sellers if they change handling time, negative feedback, or poor listing number of items, and more. I mean, it's all within an algorithm. eBay's trying to figure out, how do we take the thousands of people that are selling just within your category alone, and how do we rank them, right? So now they're listing an item, you're listing the same item, promoted rates aside, how do we give this person a boost because they've been doing great, this other seller's been doing just not so great, and how do we work that out to where this person's rewarded? I think it's a necessary thing. And we're just going to have to try to do better in those areas. Jovial says, put a few small cold pieces of butter in with your ground beef patties before they hit the grill. You could thank me later.
Oh, that actually sounds yummy.
See, I want to make some on my grill with have a little mesquite smoke in there.
We could use the griddle for the first time.
Nah, I'm not all that interested. I'd rather set up, because see, with my grill, I have to take the innards out and put the
Did you notice that I put your innards away?
Yes, we bought a container for
while you were gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, I put it together before I left.
Oh God, here we go. You want a cookie?
Yeah, I do. You got any? Texas Bandit says, I get 15 buyers that want to pay 20 questions. It's all in the ad. Yeah, but for some it's not. We had someone ask us, and I don't know if you got back to them in Poshmark, but they said, and I don't think you did.
No, it was Mercari.
It was Mercari. Well, no, it was Mercari.
It was Mercari.
They said it was
women's
8.5 Nike shoe. They said, I didn't see the measurement of the shoe.
I'm sorry, but if you don't know your shoe size and you want to know the length of a shoe, you have issues, and I don't want to have to deal with you. I'm sorry, but an 8.5 is an 8.5. You either wear it or you don't. You either need an 8.5 regular or an 8.5 wide.
Bottom line is we have returns. You can return the item if it's not.
I just don't understand. Why would you ask? What is the length of a shoe? I can get if it's, the height of it, you want to know if it's going to go up to your calf or your knee. I get that. But
Biff says, I think about 33% of buyers leave feedback. You can usually 3x someone's feedback to determine how many sales they have. Yeah. And wouldn't leaving a positive for them after they paid, right? So now the item is now on its way to them. They're checking to see where the item is, but they see that you've left a positive. Wouldn't that maybe motivate them to leave you a feedback in kind versus like, okay, I don't care. I got it. I'm happy. I'm moving on. I don't know. I just, in my mind, it would seem like it would. Let's see. Lissa says several coworkers and myself have looked hard into comparing those numbers. It seems to work out 2 out of 10. So you're close. I thought it was 25%. So I guess the answer to the question, I think we all can agree it's less than half. Actually leave any kind of feedback. Big Dre says my shoe sale just fell off while shopping. Probably the heat out here. Sole, not sale. Fell off while shopping. Probably the heat out here loosened the glue.
Oh.
Good thing I have a bunch of shoes to pick in my store.
Oh my God. Jeez. Well, how hot is it where you are?
No, that's hot.
Oh my God.
Because that don't happen to me. It's been 100.
It's 107 here today.
It's 102. 102 and windy.
Your computer is absolutely wrong.
Jovial says, looking forward to getting a return back from one particular buyer who is an eBay seller as well, so I can refund and block his annoying ass.
Preach, sister, preach.
We all get annoyed, right? We all
Yes.
get annoyed with things that buyers do, but I think we just gotta.
But there's always that one that really just irks you
We have
so
to,
bad.
We have to do our best to try to get away from those feelings and just move
I
on.
know, but I move on after I yell and scream and cuss and.
Junk Trader says, Anissa says, if I had to write, I'd make 100 mistakes.
Yeah, me too.
And
I would
my
have to
hand
look at it. That would hurt my hand having to write. I don't think I've had to write in a job for.
And that's assuming they're going to even be able to
Years.
read my writing. I mean,
Oh no,
They might-
I can barely read your.
I might ship out a box of shoes, and they might like hand deliver a jar of like a container of Percocet, because my handwriting looks like a doctor's handwriting.
Okay, that didn't make any sense because the box is already preloaded
It was a
with your
stupid
item.
joke.
That was
Yeah.
really bad.
You weren't supposed to analyze it. Bearded Picker says, "Who's taking over my account? I can't be leaving in so many serious comments." I know what's going on.
I know.
Karen says, "I did report that buyer that told me to get bent,
Yeah, good. I would have.
but what's going to happen to them? Probably not.
nothing.
Probably not. AI
But
is
still,
going to
it's
say
the point.
no. I agree, and I agree that
Nobody should ever talk to you that way. Just because you think you're some kind of keyboard warrior, you can say things like that behind a keyboard. Absolutely not.
But I believe that as sellers, look, I don't need to know what happened to the buyer that I reported. I know you're never going to tell me what happened, the outcome of this case or reporting this buyer, but you can tell us collectively this buyer is a bad dude. Look, they don't pay, and they've been reported by 8 other sellers this year. Maybe, and you know what? Buyers can change behavior. So maybe make it over a 12-month period and have like stats that we can see to be able to vet who we're dealing with. So if you are, I'm a big believer in, as sellers, you should be able to determine who you're doing business with. So just like how eBay has that setting to where avoid buyers with, X amount of defects within the last 90 days or whatever. I believe that's what it is, or negative feedbacks or -1 or whatever it is. I have to go back and look at it. There is one setting that you can select that allows the automation of that. But I'd like them to go further. Have like how many times a buyer has been reported. If it's more than 2, can I block them? Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Underscore, I love that idea. Non-paying strikes. No design thermal for someone who are going to do it full time, at least thinking about full time. Yeah, you should have a thermal printer if you're printing more than, I'd say, a handful of labels per week.
Yeah, that takes a lot of time.
Clean Out Deal says, hello, new to the channel. I'm very frustrated with eBay showing the buyers cheaper items that are the same as just bought, causing them to want to cancel after the purchase. I've dealt a lot with that lately. Yeah, we get it all the time. And it's the one thing that just doesn't make sense to me. What are they trying to do? And I've always thought that, look, they're buying a cell phone, right? What would be the perfect thing to show them after they bought a cell phone? How about cell phone accessories? They might need another charger. They might need a better case or a case for it.
Yeah.
That would be where AI really needs to come in and evaluate. Is this purchase something someone can buy items that will pair well with it? So you buy what Josh would call a vase, right? What would go well with that? Maybe another
Some
one.
flowers.
Or, yeah, I don't know. But it's just, not utilized properly, in my opinion. Now, my other question is, what's the other side of that coin? How many sellers have benefited from that situation? So they bought an item, and then they check out, and then that buyer sees your item at a better deal that they didn't see before. They jump on that, they cancel from the other person. So I think while it's frustrating, I think it affects sellers about the same, if I had to guess. Beard says, where is my third sale? I hit the thumbs up for the third time. 24 hours, Beard. You get 24 hours. Bearded Picker, thermals for speed and money saving. They can list more, never too early to be efficient. I agree.
I pulled my back hair out.
That's all you got left.
That's all you have left.
Larry Wayhouse says, happy Monday, John and Jenna. Thanks for being here,
Larry.
Nice seeing you. Larry says, Scott, agree on the never too early to be efficient. Really? I mean, if you're just doing this because, look, I'm clearing out my garage, I may not be selling, anymore after this, then yeah, don't go out and buy a thermal printer. But if you're even doing this on a part-time hobby basis to just say, I need this for Christmas money, then you should be reinvesting into that because you are still running a business. Anytime you buy something with the intent of reselling and it's not your personal stuff, the government, even if you make $5, the government sees that you're buying to resell and you are running a business. What were you pointing out? Beard automated his lawn.
Yeah.
He did.
I know he did.
Samantha says, yeah, but the question of the day, I forget to mention it. Why are the buyers before or potentially new totaling turned off of the selling platform? They don't even consider eBay. I don't think they know. I mean, if you ask a handful of Gen Xers, Gen Zers, if you need to buy a pair of pants, what site do you go on? I'm willing to bet none of them are going to say eBay. If you go to them and say, hey, if you want to buy this new cell phone case, where are you going? They're probably going to say Amazon, but you know what I'm saying? If you ask them to identify where they go and shop, they're probably not going to put eBay there because eBay has done a really bad job of building brand recognition within Gen Z. We Gen Xers know it, millennials, many of them know it.
Even certain Gen X's, like my sisters don't go to eBay to buy anything, and they think it's crazy that people do. And like my mom is a baby boomer, so I think they've just done a really terrible job at continuing to put out there's is still here. Hi, we're still here. And we're bigger than ever. And,
Yeah. There's a Jen, every time John goes to play golf, you should call a house cleaner.
Oh, my God. I would love that. My house would be spotless all the time.
Larry says, Scott, I automate my lawn. Also, my 39-year-old son cuts my grass.
God.
There you go.
Yeah, too bad. We have no family out here. So I don't have anybody that I can call and say, hey, I broke both my arms and my legs. Can you come and do my laundry? I have nobody.
Nick Rinaldi says, we do get caught in our own bubble of doing good work. There's so many awful sellers. I understand the heavy lean toward the buyer despite how stressful it can be for us. Yeah. I mean, you got good and bad buyers, good and bad sellers. Would eBay rather lose a buyer or would they rather lose a seller? I'm telling you right now, they would rather lose a seller than a buyer. And therefore, they're going to put their thumb on the scale that's going to be in the buyer's favor almost every time. Ping G says, May 2008 is when eBay eliminated sellers leaving negative feedback.
Dang, she's down to the month.
Yeah.
You
Nick,
guys have really good memories. I have a really terrible one.
I don't recall the date because there was a time, I think it was like 2006, where I was doing a lot of eBay and I was doing Amazon at the time too. And then I just stopped. And I think 2008, 2009 were in those dates where I didn't even care. That's a really
rough time in our lives.
Yeah, that was no good. Yeah. So we didn't even know each other in 2008, but we knew
of each other.
But we knew that things weren't so hot. But for me, I wasn't really doing a whole lot of eBay in 2008 to even remember that. Nick Picker says, eBay is asking buyers to review an item on certain items that have product reviews. The issue, though, is the buyer can still get confused and leave an item review as your feedback. And I've had that. It's like, I didn't make that. If there's an issue, maybe they're happy with the item, but they're like an Amazon review where, yeah, it does great, but you know what? I would prefer if it had all this there, this feature, and that feature. And it's like, I have nothing to do with it. You should have did your homework about this product.
Yeah.
And then determined if it was going to fulfill your need and buy it or not buy it, but don't take it out on me. Lissa, I saw the strong arm threat power handover to bad buyers that were really starting to begin at that time.
You asked her what made you feel that way.
Okay. Andy Reno says, finally made it. How's that FA family doing? Nice
What's
to see
up,
you.
Andy?
And we also have Basket Noodle with us.
Basket Noodle!
And of course, you guys aren't as late as I am reading your comments, so I apologize.
They've been here a while.
Yeah. Clean Out Deal says, I think eBay should restrict buyers with under 50 from leaving feedback. Most new buyers don't understand the process and the damage this may cause. Just saying, they're oblivious to it.
They are.
Texas Bandit says, if one account gets trashed, they just re-register for another account. But if they don't know, if they're just buyers, they'll never see the metrics that we get to see for a potential buyer. If they're oblivious to it, they won't need to reopen anything. I'm trying to get through here. Basket Noodle says, Confucius say, bad seller who crap on buyers don't really care if they are shit down. They just wipe, flush, rinse, and repeat and order a toilet seat. There we go. Silver Hair Stacker says, negative feedback should drop off after 3 months instead of a year. I have one neg, and it is 10 months old.
I agree.
And it's annoying, right?
It is.
Oh, we got Mike here. Mike Camparelli says,
Mike!
hey, guys, sorry I'm late. Just got into Tennessee for the 127, hanging out with Shane and Locker Room Boys. Catch the replay. Hope everyone is good.
Oh, how fun.
Well, tell everyone we said hi.
Yeah.
I
want to go to the 127 once.
Let's try next year. But what are we going to do with these? We got to figure out a plan with these dogs.
You and the dogs.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we're going to hire a kid to come over and do.
Paul didn't mean to make you lose your shut.
Much.
Designs Laura says, as a seller, I don't look at a buyer's feedback from sellers, so all these positives mean nothing since they're usually left automatically.
Yeah.
Beer says, Mike, I might have to go Friday night just to meet you. You guys are going to meet up at the 127.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Terry Martin says, oh my God, ended 5 days, my items today, and then did sell similar. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Designs Laura says, I will, however, look at what buyers leave for sellers before responding to low offers. Yep. I do like to look at what is left for the seller as well, because if you have someone that's abusive, I mean, you may be having a bad day. I don't want to be a part of that bad day. Basket Noodle says, used to be trust was like fine crystal. Once cracked, never be the same. Online, trust once cracked the porcelain toilet, never to be the same. Yes. Ecoms says, greetings from Australia. Love the streams. Thanks for sharing. Well, thanks for being here.
You.
Nice to see you. Do not be a stranger.
Australia.
Samantha Hunter, John, please tell us that September will be better and back on track.
You guys, it might be, but last year for September, we weren't doing so hot.
I think that historically, summer slowdown is a thing, and September usually is better. A lot of it's what you're selling. I think a lot of it's what you're selling. So I read a report a couple years ago, and I'm sure it's still the same, that the spring and the fall usually are great days for times of year for clothing and shoes. So, sorry. Let me say something.
Is that a Shark Navigator vacuum behind Jenna?
It is parts for one.
It looks like it.
It is. You are so observative.
Observative?
Observative.
Observative?
Observative. Is that not a word? Observant.
Observant.
Here at the Flippin' Ain't Easy show, you learn new words every day. But I got to get those listed on the other account. It's parts for it.
Oh, my God.
Alicia says, June was horrible, but July has been fantastic. But anything can happen when reselling. Yep.
This is true. The highs and the lows.
I did hurt my ankle. It's still bothering me. But it's more like in my Achilles And so it was going up my leg to my calf, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, and it was swollen. I put some CBD menthol stuff on it last night, and it's definitely swollen.
NBC Oasis says the eye headache thing is real, is why lots of streamers wear shades while on stream.
Yeah, it's a giant ring light, and it's not been here before, and it's literally making me sick.
Alicia's buying inventory at the super cheap right now because we have to wrap up for late Q3 and Q4.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, as we get into August, September, October, it's just going to get worse.
I think Alicia is the one that buys all those liquidation pallets.
Samantha says, I don't know if you'll get to my question, but maybe eBay should let the buyers see the comps so they'll know not to lowball us. They know what the item is selling for. I think a lot of buyers are oblivious to that. Yeah. I'll just list something and right away I'll get an offer, and it's like, yeah, I just listed this, and yeah, this item doesn't sell this low. And I'll try to explain that as nicely as I can to a buyer. And sometimes they'll come back down to earth. Basket Noodle says feedback is antiquated. What should be shown in seller performance as in retail, and for buyers, similar data showing a history. Mm-hmm. I agree. Now, I think it's going to take people who actually sell on the platform to be involved in that process for them to find something that's going to work. But they continually add things from people in the boardroom who do not sell on the platform, things that may make sense, but don't make sense if you actually do the work. John Gaynor says, hi, John and Jenna, or Jen and John. Ever get a feedback meant for someone else, and it was not a kind one at that, especially if you do not sell that item? Mm. I had someone send me a message like, hey, you know,
suck.
Yeah, I'm like, do you realize that you bought this from me, right? Michael Newdigate, I think I said that right. They need to remove the return button after 30 days if that is your return policy.
I agree.
Yeah, because it gives the buyer hope that, oh, I can return this. So they click on it and it says, okay, the seller will get back to you or whatever. And then you decline it. Now they're mad and they have 60 days to leave a negative. Mm-hmm. And then they leave you a negative because you wouldn't accept the return. And your return policy is clearly stated in the terms of the sale. And eBay has this thing in their policy, their terms and conditions, that you cannot change the terms of the sale. You agree to the terms of the sale when you buy this item. And so by getting upset that we don't offer 60-day returns and we offer 30, well, that was actually what was stated in the terms of the sale. So you agreed to that. And now that you're mad about it, you can't change it. You're going to take it out on me. I don't like that. Alicia says, do you think paying for promoted is really like eBay taking their foot off your items being suppressed? I think it's really, I mean, I don't know if you can correlate one with the other, you know, like paying for promoted versus items being suppressed. I think that it used to be when there was no promotion at all, you just have good quality listings and eBay's looking at your account health and determining where everyone's ranked based on the buyer search query, that that worked then and it should be in place now. But because they found a money grab way to make more money, now we have promoted, and now they are working the algorithm up to where if you're not playing the game in their sandbox to give them more money to sell your items, then you're not going to sell as many items. So by promoting, if you have not been promoting, by promoting, you're going to get more impressions, more page views, and more page views should lead to more sales. So long answer for a short question, but I really feel like you got to be playing their game.
Answers.
Basket Noodle says exactly buyer statistical data, but that's not allowed. Welcome to bank cards. Yeah. Duncan says, don't you hate it when you have a big order, 26 items, and one is missing?
Ooh,
that's never fun.
That's not fun at all.
You get in there and start ripping things apart.
Well, that was stuff. John this morning. I asked him if he could get an extra item that he wouldn't normally get, and he's like, I can't find it. And I'm like, oh God.
I was looking at something else though. I was looking for a different pair of shoes. Mike Gertis says, with 11 new listings and not even one view today.
It's not with, it's WTH. What the hell?
Oh, what the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell? 11 new listings and not even one view today.
That's terrible.
I don't even know my views, though. I don't even look at views per item. I don't even look at
I
that.
don't even see it.
Shirley O'Dunes says, hi, John and Jenna. I see that eBay renews my items every 30 days or so. I usually do nothing when I see the red writing to let me know when my items are renewing soon. What should I do when my items are about to renew? If I do nothing, am I hurting my eBay site? You are telling eBay that it is a stale item. Mm-hmm. So every time after 30 days, it renews, right? It just basically, you get the same item number. Basically, it's just giving you a new, all they're doing when they do that process is they're deducting a listing from your next month's or your new month's allocation. So you get so many listings for free, depending on the store you have or whatever. And they are going to make sure that any item that you continue to have in your store, they're going to use up a new listing every month.
Mailman hasn't come.
He hasn't come. Well, then we'll just
have a shit ton.
Okay, we'll have to go. We'll have to get going here. So it's just one of those things where
flipping ain't easy.
Yeah, no, flipping ain't easy, but it's just one of those things where you just got to do the end item sell similar process. When you see that red, end it, and then go in and relist it or sell similar. I got Commonwealth Picker says, you know what they say about shoe size. Maybe they're wondering about something else.
I mean,
it was a woman's shoe, though.
Yeah, it's so annoying. Like that is probably one of my biggest pet peeves with people asking those kinds of questions. Like, you either know your size or you don't. I can get if it's a shirt, because not all shirts, the brands are all different, right? But with shoes, an 8.5 is an 8.5.
John says, the weather today is leaving me moist.
Well, then you should get a towel.
Mr. Thinker says, I want to start recording while out thrifting. Any pointers on discrete equipment or just something to record, not being so obvious? Any thoughts you can share? I don't have them here with us. They're like $30 or $40 dual mics that are wireless that I picked up on Amazon. They work great for what we did in this last thing. And
then we don't do this because we don't film in public really, but I would think that a chest cam, the
GoPro.
What is it? GoPro.
Yeah. A
GoPro would probably be best.
Basket Noodle, this is going to be a rough fourth quarter. Many reasons: consumer confidence, lack thereof, but mostly e-tailers haven't been saying it'll be their more aggressive in history. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better overall with the economy. And then once things get better, like maybe latter part of Q4, maybe things might improve. From what I understand, the interest rates are going to be dropped here in September. It's what they're saying. So that should help a little bit. So I guess we're going to see. I'm no economist, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm sure you already do. But and I see a lot of good comments here. I absolutely hate to do this, but Jenna just reminded me that we have like 20 large packages that need to go out Grand Advantage, and our mailman did not come.
No.
And
I am so angry right now. I could scream.
Yeah.
But we love you guys. But we really got to go because we have to go load the car. Mm-hmm. And I am so pissed because...
it's probably a replacement carrier today.
Yeah, because our carrier always comes.
Yeah, and they'll be open for like 5 or 10 minutes after they supposedly close.
It's already 4:58.
Yeah, so want to go. We don't want to go, but we have to. So wanted to say this, that there's going to be many things that you're going to be needing to do if you're trying to run a business and need to be focused as a business. And I just think whenever you can automate simple processes like feedback, I think it's a good look, but also it's something you don't have to think about. But figuring out whether or not you're a business or just a hobby seller or this matters to you is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want to see you guys here on Fridays live at 3 p.m. And we'll see you then, guys.
Have a good week,
Take
guys.
Care.
Bye.